As someone who has played Smash competitively through a different number of titles for over 5 years, I've experienced many different forms of what many refer to as burnout. I say different forms because it can happen for different reasons, such as your personality type, your situation, depending on the scenario, etc. I want to discuss this concept using my experience as a relatable guide, and also to show you how to approach whatever form of burnout is affecting you. As a preface, all of this is based on research by Henrik Gustafsson in his study titled Burnout in Competitive and Elite Athletes. I'll include a link to this in the description if you're interested in reading further into it. Many of us play competitive games for the enjoyment that comes with improvement, winning and making new friends. To achieve our goals and to satisfy ourselves when competing, we tend to commit a lot of effort to something many would call just a video game. When we begin to lose this interest and begin not to enjoy our commitment to the game, especially in how we practice, this is often referred to what is called a burnout. It often happens due to discrepancies between our goals and the actual reality of it. Expectations of one's skill comes into play here as well. For example, one way in which this could happen is through tournament placings. It's very common that a player would increase their practice regimen and net a win above their expectations at a tournament. This would then place the person on a higher pedestal in terms of skill to themselves and create subconscious pressure to perform to these new standards. It would affect them both mentally and physically, as shown by research. The player would tend to overtrain and push their limits instead of allowing themselves to recover, eventually resulting in burnout. It can also be caused by a disparity in someone's ego. Some players don't require a stimuli like a tournament placing to believe their skill is on a higher level than their opponents. If your reality is constantly not reflecting what you believe yourself, then of course you'll be stressed and unmotivated. Actually, just being motivated about the game itself is said to put you at high risk for burnout. If you want to achieve something, all you have to do is practice and work hard at it, right? Well, management of your time is incredibly important to staying healthy and maintaining a consistent pace of improvement. Perfectionism is said to play closely to this and is often projected onto us by our peers, coaches, and family from a young age, or during our development and learning the game. Up-and-comers are said to be heavily influenced by this and the interactions that can shape their career. High ambitions and overcommitment can quickly become the exact opposite for many competitors. The main identifiers of burnout are a decrease in performance, depressive tendencies, and being generally fatigued. You can also have all of these symptoms and not be a victim of burnout. So, how do we avoid this from happening? The first main concept is the use of what is called periodization. The idea behind this is to maximize your performance potential and decrease underperformance. Training should be organized and planned in advance of a competition or performance. It should consider the athlete's potential, their performance in tests or competition, and calendar of competition. It has to be simple, suggestive, and above all, flexible, as its content can be modified to meet the athlete's rate of progress. To keep things simple, it basically uses the idea of long, mid, and short-term goal setting as a foundation for your training. It's in the context of sport, so keep that in mind. Instead, it refers to them as macrocycles, mesocycles, and microcycles respectively. It would be ideal to time your cycles with competitions which you would like to succeed at. For example, if I wanted to be prepared for Genesis, which is typically like during January, February time, and I started preparing in November, my macro cycle would be 2 or 3 months. I would also set a goal for that time frame, get out of pools, etc. You would then continue to break it down into mesocycles, which would be your midterm goals, probably like a month or something in this instance. What goals we need to achieve in that time frame to help you get out of pools. Let's say your ledge trapping isn't up to snuff, so you dedicate a lot of time to that. Then you get to microcycles, which are your short-term goals. This would be likely on a weekly basis. What must you do now to improve your ledge trapping in a month, each week, so on and so forth. You might even get specific enough to change your daily habits as well. Ideally, the intensity would build further and further until you peak at the end of your macro cycle, i.e. Genesis. Then you would go into resting for a time period until your next event, macro cycle, begins. This ensures you play at your full capacity, make efficient use of your time, and also make sure you don't burn out unnecessarily. Combining this with SMART goals is also a good idea to make sure the goals you're setting for yourself are also feasible for you. Due to Smash not having seasons like sports, even though it's arguable tournaments begin to die down during the winter, we may still have to change how we use periodization. We may want to train in much smaller macro cycles, but to do so, you'd want to plan events far ahead. Of course, this would all assume that you would be taking competition seriously enough to do it like this. If you're watching this video though, I think it's likely you do. Players who treat this game as a hobby will not experience burnout in the same way because they do not have the stressors or same intensity to their practice. While periodization does give us all the tools we need to avoid burnout, you can still perform the resting phase but not do it properly. Both physical and emotional recovery have said to be imperative in this. You would want to significantly remove yourself from competition and anything that you would correlate with practice. Focus on other hobbies, friends and family, etc. You can still play the game, just nowhere near the same frequency or in a competitive fashion. Stick to this and you will see satisfaction during the resting procedure. Social support from either a friend or your coach is going to be useful to detach yourself from your issues. If you're frustrated, speak to others about it to better understand the what and the why. Unfortunately, the use of social support is only temporary and is suggestive a break is required sooner rather than later. Being social in general is also very important during this period. Many players might feel like they can't enjoy themselves because of their motivation and love with the game. However, it's important to pace yourself and allow yourself this time to just relax. Advice to athletes: remember that it has to be fun and you should feel good about yourself. It is important to make training joyful and you should play more. It is also important to have a life outside sport in order to relax completely from sport. Learn who you are, trust your instincts, listen to your bodily signals and dare to trust those signals. Talk about how you feel. Make sure you have someone to help you in this process, a coach, a sports psychologist, or just someone else you trust. Do not attend too many competitions. One athlete also said that one should avoid competing at a senior level while still a junior. Avoid chasing training hours and do not plan all your time. Instead, make sure you have some time off. Along with this, it's important not to create a performance-based self-esteem through these actions. What I mean by this is not to allow results to equate to your self-worth. This is very common in high achievers who dedicate a lot of their time to the game and neglect other facets of their life. So it's only natural that they would come to this conclusion without a balance between both competitive gaming and their life. I hope this video managed to educate you on the effects of burnout somewhat. I had a lot of fun making it, learning about this was actually really interesting. Big takeaways from this video though: manage your time well to achieve realistic goals. Give ample time resting for yourself. Don't neglect yourself or other parts of your life. Let me know if you'd like to see more of this kind of content. It's some of my favourite to make, so I would love to do more. Also, I appreciate you supporting me on Twitter, Ko-Fi, and this channel, so thanks so much for watching and see you next time. Peace.